joining us this morning remotely. So, good morning, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
And
Hi, Barb.
we're just going to sit still in this a few minutes till Rich gets back from the cabin. So
Okay.
start with that. Okay, well, we'll start with a little side topic for now. It's been observed that the protests actually do have an amazing effect on the world, which is kind of strange when you think about it. Like, I mean, so there's a few thousand people, but there's like millions in the country, so what? But I think it kind of demonstrates the fact that when we show up with our light on, our hearts open, it is actually broadcasting an energy. We can't teach kindness or even mindfulness. We can't tell somebody you should care about other people. But when enough people that do care show up, it's broadcasting an energy, and it has a tendency to wake that up in other people. So it's an indirect teaching in the way we think about teaching normally. Likewise, when we show up at Food Lion or wherever, and we are in our joy and enjoying all the characters we meet there, and all the situations we meet there, like the lady that always parks her cart sideways in the aisle. Why do you do that? Anyway, as we meet each moment, we are teaching. And it's not demonstration alone in the sense of, I'm demonstrating love. It's demonstration from the inner energy and the energy field that we are putting into the world around us. So it's always good to just remember that, because even on my crappiest day, I can remember that that can go on, and to realize it doesn't really matter the mood I'm in, as long as I'm not choosing to energize the I hate you energy. My light is still working. It's working all the time if I let it be. And all I gotta do is agree in mind, okay, I feel rotten and horrible and angry and mean today. All right, let my light shine anyway, please. And it will. And I have seen instances of that. Times when I would lead group and I'd come into group and it's like, man, I shouldn't even be here today, what place my mind is in, And yet, by the end of group, people were saying, oh, I'm really glad I came tonight. This was a really good group. And our light will guide us and use us, I would say, just for our willingness to show up no matter what state we're in. So that's another interesting thing that we can keep in mind as we go about this adventure moment by moment. So. Alrighty.
Sure.
Now the party can start.
I don't know.
So Stefan's been exploring a lot lately about clarifying the sameness and the difference between Buddhism and Christianity. So I too will play with that today. In short, the application of mindfulness that Buddha realized and taught is very, very similar to what Jesus realized and taught as his human aspect. The main difference I see is Buddha teachings were directed only to our inner self. It did not recognize a divinity. Yet, for some reason, they pray all the time. So I think what happens is they get in there and they realize, oh, I'm in something a lot bigger than me. But the Buddhist teachings do not say turn to your inner divinity. Though they may say in various sects, turn to your inner Buddha. So it's a mix-up, just like Christianity is a real mix-up. Again, mindfulness itself is not Buddhist, it's not the Tao, it's not Jesus. It's the process of turning to look from my inner awareness to what's going on in my mind and making lucid choices of how I want to walk on through this experience. At peace, in peace, or in conflict and battle mode. That's mindfulness, just that one little turning of my mental orientation to my inner awareness rather than to the thinky thoughts and emotions and body urges to guide my life. So, Buddhism has come to sum up its application of mindfulness, which what's called the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. I like them, one, because I was a programmer, very logic brain when I started down this path. I like nice, neat, concise things to do and think to get started. Real quick, the Four Noble Truths. There's always suffering in this world, or discontent, dissatisfaction. And so I go around in a kind of grumbly life instead of a happy life. The second truth is there's a cause for those sufferings. It's because I attach the things, crave them, want them, and say, I can't be happy without that being the way I want it to be. That is in addition to certain things like physical pain, disease, and such. But actually the largest part of our ongoing life is not from external pain sources. It's from a discontent in my mind about how things are. And even Barb is a good example of this with chronic pain from rheumatoid arthritis all her life, basically. She's learned, well, I can still be happy even though there's pain. And she has demonstrated it. Whereas our human animal says, no, I can't be happy till this pain's gone, so this life's shot, because it's going to be here. Anyway, the cause is our attachment to something or a fantasy, even. An imagined thing we think would be better, and then saying, I won't be happy without that or until I get it. And, well, voila, I got suffering. The third truth is suffering can end. By realizing, becoming aware of these attachments and cravings and demands I put on reality, I can let go of that. Oh, okay. No, I can't. Yes, I can. There's the choosing stage we talk about in mindfulness. And the fourth noble truth is there's a specific path out of this, and that is the practices of mindfulness, of which I teach my version here. And Buddha summed it up as the Eightfold Path. The first one being, look to have wisdom or right understanding, right insight, right intention. And that boils down to looking out and seeing an amazing creation that I can love, rather than a creation that's an enemy and a threat. Basic Jesus teaching there. Love your neighbor, love your enemy. Turn to that place of love within you to view reality and your life in it. Number 2, ethical conduct, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Those are, it's grouping the 8 into these groups. Ethical. I only speak from my place of love. I only act, make decisions of what to do from my place of love. And I only go about earning a living from my place of love. I do something that's not harmful to anybody, that's ethical, so I can stay in my love no matter what I'm doing all day long. I like to know, when Google started up, I actually remember when Google started. There was a time Google did not exist. And their big motto they emphasized was, do no evil. And I thought it was great. Everybody thought it was great. And then a little ways down their path, they said, now we're giving up that motto. We want to make money. We'll do whatever evil we want. So we all make that same choice. day to day with all kinds of things. And the last part of the Eightfold Path is, how's he put it? Where'd it go? Mental discipline, which is really saying it's down to where I make that choice of whether I want to stop, return to my love space of awareness and live from there or not. And that mental effort requires right effort, remembering I can go to love. And even if I can't feel like I can get there, I can choose to do my best to act like I think love would act instead of, terrorizing, causing suffering, causing harm. Right mindfulness is developing a practice of staying aligned with my inner love space and spending the time for meditation, little moments of practice throughout the day. It's making the choice to adopt a personal mindfulness practice. And right concentration is the last that he designated, which is learning to hold that focus. I can remember my space of love. I was like, all right. And it was like, yeah, I got to get back to. No, I can get to that while keeping my awareness of the love state up and running. But that takes practice because it's so easy to get drawn into a task and then get pissed off because I'm trying to clean the chicken coop and the damn chickens are flying all over where I'm trying to shovel, and I'm out of my, I lose my focus on my space. So without calling that inner space anything, Buddhism actually asks the participants to live in a Christ-like manner. Where the difference comes in, however, as I see it, for me, I have a sense of an actual presence of a person, Jesus, and many other helpers, I believe, too. But I can turn in my mind in that space and say, I need a little help here. Whereas Buddhism is basically a do-it-yourself program. It's depending on, or teaching dependence on your own inner abilities. I have found those severely lacking in myself. I'm not good at focusing. I'm not good at maintaining a discipline. But when I turn within and I feel that presence of a friend and teacher, a very powerful one, and I say, a little help, please, it helps me. And I've shared before in my teaching of mindfulness that when we turn to our inner space and say a little help, I have seen it has the power to transform everything in my animal aspect. It can transform my thought programs in the subconscious. It can transform my reactive emotions. So when we meet around the bend on a one-lane snowy road, yep, I'm driving on snow now, let's see how this goes. And adrenaline never came up. It's just, oh, this is going to be it. Whereas in the past, my heart would race and I'd be like, oh shit. It does change us. And I believe that is the working of the Christ within. Simply my belief. It's also what Jesus taught in the gospel, so a lot of other people believe that too. But to me, any teaching is going to be different. Right now, they roughly estimate 8.2 billion religions on earth. Because go into any church and start questioning what the individuals believe, and no two agree on anything, not on all of it. And so it is throughout the world. Yeah, some of us are more Buddha-ish, and some of us are more Taoist, and some of us are more Christian-ish. But yet we all create our own religion. We're putting together packages that we feel will help us do better at getting peaceful, at growing spiritually. And I guess what I want to get to today is that's going to be our most powerful singular thing in our spiritual growth, is beginning to trust my own practice that I'm developing. Because I'm trusting that the Christ and however I perceive the other forces, the Father, Abba, Mary, whatever seems reasonable to me, create your own reasonable, because it has to fit you. You know, I was drawn to Buddhism, but right away I could see the end that I didn't care for, that there is no God. It's like, no, I feel something in here, so I'll take their practice, but I'm not going to look to Buddhism to be my answer to my spiritual path. I was deeply drawn to the Gospels, because, yeah, this guy's got something going on, I can feel it in here. But I have no interest in the church version of using and teaching that. I have my own interest. And what I'm offering is so does every single person. But it's about developing trust in that, above all else. If, as we do tend to do in Christianity, we believe that Abba, the Father, with his Son, the Christ, the Word, created this entire thing. That includes me, right here and now. It includes the life I've lived in unconsciousness up till I began awakening, and all the peculiar things in my mind and desires and these crazy urges and this raging anger or hatred. All that's included in, that's what creation is right now. It's his creation, not mine. Oh, why would he do that? That question can't be answered outwardly. Here it is. Here's me. Here's God. Oh, how's he going to direct me to meet this self that I am from the past and let it be transformed just by me trusting in the inner voice, dialogue, urge that I get when I'm in that love peace state. I have to trust it's part of myself already, and it's going to lead me to untangle this mess, and then to discover all kinds of new, how big does this love space get? What other ideas come that help me share it in love with the world and help me bring healing to the world? And it gets very exciting for me, but only by trusting. So, again, like, it can't be taught. I can't teach anybody how to trust any more than I can teach anybody you should care about other people. But when I do, it extends an energy. Jesus very specifically says in the Gospels that it's his complete trust in the Father that enables him to do the things he does. And then he turns right around and says, you can do these things too. If you trust as I trust, if you believe as I believe. That's where, the idea, the conceptual belief begins to dissolve and becomes replaced with a trusting that is the belief. I don't need a definition. I just feel presence. I trust. All right, this is crazy. 2 cars on the one lane. But the trust for me has become instinctual now. I don't need to figure it out. If need be, God will grab my arms and steer this car the correct way. I mean, it's that kind of a deepening of trust that I have seen grow. The same when they predicted this storm, oh my goodness, it's going to exterminate half the life in the United States. Collectively here, we all got that trust. No worries for us. And so no panicking. So then it's just all about every day. This day, this minute, this little strange situation I'm in. Can I trust instead of reacting? Because when I trust the love space in me, the divine power in me, it lets me just open up my mind, free of my worry or anxiety, even free of my fear of not knowing, which is a strange fear. But it's like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't need to know. It'll come to me as I go if I trust. So my summary for today is, no matter what our religion is, what our own spiritual path is that we're building personally, the only value we're going to get out of it is from how much we trust it. Otherwise, it's just a nice little philosophy exercise for when I'm sitting quiet Saturday night and nobody's bothering me. But it doesn't do me any good on the road or in the supermarket or dealing with characters in this world. My trust is my part of building my spiritual path. Then, through the trust, whatever's within, whatever I believe, maybe I just believe it's inner awareness, like Buddha, some Buddhists believe. It doesn't matter what I believe, it's the trust in it that's going to empower it to guide me and transform. Thoughts? Funny, the extended version of that trust means I have to trust Kevin to be the perfect Kevin and Rich to be the perfect Rich, and so on with every character I meet. And that's a little bit of a challenging practice to do sometimes. Yes. Yeah. Look at that. There's a lovely spicy Anna today. Being a perfect spicy Anna.
Don't breathe in the fumes.
Just checking to see if Bart had any comments here.
Well, Brother Tim, there's a lot there, but I'll do my best to add something to
Sure.
the conversation. It's like you kind of touched on it when it really hammered a nail when you just said the word philosophical. It's all of this knowledge, this acquisition of knowledge, right, as we're searching. And I think a lot of that happens, in our younger years. Of course, we continue to seek to understand probably our whole lives, at least that's my tale. But that old adage that the longest pilgrimage in the world is the pilgrimage from the head to the heart.
Yeah.
But it kind of ties in, like, knowledge is just they're just ideas.
Yeah.
And I guess my brain acts like a filter, hopefully on a good day, to really filter out all the excess, that milieu of like unnecessary things, and it's almost like a cheesecloth like the good stuff,
Mhm.
the truth can drip down, and I can allow those truths into my heart, you know, because it's superficiality, knowledge, pursuit of materials, you know, status, and all of those external things. But it's only when, you know, like you were talking about the cleaning the chicken coop, we can walk in there physically and be spiritual, you know, be connected. But as soon as something goes sideways,
Yeah.
get a little chicken poop dust in my eyes or in our nose or whatever, you know, then we lose contact with it. But yeah, I think it's really, and I think that's why what happens here, the contemplative life, is it's very it's so powerful. And I think, you know, before I came here, I was trying to find that balance, how to remain spiritual and connected, you know, my belief, you know, connected to God, connected to the peace of God, and that Christ consciousness, you know, like enacting that, working in a theme park where you interact with thousands of personalities all day long. A lot of superficiality. So it made sense for me to come to a place like this where all of that noise, but I still find myself craving the noise too.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, Kevin and I were hanging out last night, but and we talk pretty regularly, but there's a word that's been clanging around the bell, which is balance. How do I balance this, what I believe is true nature, which is peace with self, with God, and with each other? And how do I walk that walk in just daily life, whatever it is for each of us, you know? So I don't know if that you know, that's it.
Yeah, no, we all go through that, and still do, just in different ways now for me than going out to the amusement park or a rave or something.
Mhm.
But I still, you know, there's always that question. And what I've found is let the question be there, but quit trying to answer it.
Yeah.
Let it reveal as you go. What do I want to do today? Go to the amusement park. Oh, go and have fun. Do your best to stay remembering your heart.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So what? You
Yeah.
get mad and get in a fight and they beat you up and throw you in jail? Oh, damn, I did that again. Okay, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, from what I have found, just Spirit has this beautiful sense of humor all the time. And it's like, don't be afraid to be you. I will show you how to transform it if necessary, and how to have fun using it
Mm-hmm.
once you get it going right. But don't be afraid.
Yep.
So my only answer, yeah, keep looking for balance. That's the prayer to open me up for transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But don't try to figure it out or answer it myself.
Yeah.
That's just my take
Yeah.
on it.
And that's the second noble truth, which is the attachment, seeking the attachment.
Yeah.
I need to understand. And yeah, it's like, and you said some, you know, like that God does have a sense of humor. I'm a firm believer, you know, but we're also taught through certain churches and whatever, you know, like rigidity.
Yeah.
We have to be rigid.
Strict.
And then there's, you know, in contrast to the fluidity. So like, we can read the Gospels. Jesus wasn't uptight, you know, at least not all the. I don't think he was uptight ever, but he was very stern. And then he also had a softness too.
Yep.
So, and I'm sure he was cracking jokes with his
sure.
people. So, Balance and presence. Those might be at least two good ideas to sit with for me.
I would just adjust the one term. Not stern, but clear.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke the truth whenever it was called for.
Yeah.
Like that's the first item on his agenda every time. That's not sternness as in, like we think of it as a controlling energy, or saying you're bad, like do this, I'm telling you the right. No, it's just clarity.
Yeah.
This is God's truth as he addresses the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I found, for me, it really let me soften up my idea of him as my friend and teacher and helper,
Mm-hmm.
when I realized it's not sternness as in an authoritative dad that I grew up with.
Yeah.
It's clarity. Like, well, we're always going straight to the truth, straight to love. All right? Just offering.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
I actually had an image come to mind while you gave, like, somewhere in there mentioning that there's 8.2 billion different religions, and that reminded me to one moment where I was in a Christian group with other people my age, between 18 and I guess 30, and I think this was last year, and one of the guys said, like, we're here because of God, and only God connects us here. And I'm like, I'm here because I want to make friends. and he was just like, no, that's not the way to do it. You should think that we're only here to read the Bible and to be connected with God, and we're only here through God. And then, like, a few weeks later, he was like breaking down, being like, I don't know if I see everything, or like, he's like, I don't know if my way is the right way or the truth, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, well, he did learn on his own something, but that was just one example. And then I think even another person in the group, when I mentioned what I believe in, he's like, it sounds like you believe in a different God. But I'm like, no, it's the same one. But it's just that little bit of a difference, or a little bit of a path, I guess.
Yeah. I can remember a moment when my awareness cracked open enough I could see my ideas of God and realize, shit, I don't know what God is. Those were just ideas. And it was a devastating spell I went through, because I was so sure I was growing in my knowing of God, and suddenly it's like, no, those are my ideas. What is God? And that led to a big release that let me move to my heart and stay there. But where Spirit directs us to do that process, it keeps cracking the block as we go along. Then you just saw an example with that fellow, but it also happens in here, either in stages or eventually, again, like splitting wood, you hit it a couple times and finally enough cracks in it and there's a blow that just, it all shatters. I think that's kind of how this goes for us. And, God bless you when that moment happens, that, the divine also has all that contained. It's going to have you where it wants you when that moment comes. So, just saying, fun moment to look forward to. Which it's not just at one time either.
Mm-hmm.
Then you realize, oh shit, I've built a whole new model of God, and whack. Yeah. But once we get the realization it's just my ideas, then when they get whacked, it's like, oh, dang, gotta start again. But it's not that big devastation after that for me.
And I also like that other thing that you mentioned, that how your perception, I think it was in the very beginning, something about how your perception filters what you're going to see. So if you're emanating love, if you're radiating love, and that'll allow you to see and experience more love.
Yes.
But if you're doing it through the anger in your head or the frustration, then that'll only allow you to see more anger,
Right.
or more things that anger you and more things that will frustrate you.
Yeah. And it becomes very powerful. I mean, that's the first step on the Eightfold Path. But when I can see in love, I see that Ice Age, and I see the wounded child in there, that he so wants to get back at the world that beat him up when he was little. And yet, at the same time, I can say defund ICE. I mean, I don't have to condone his behavior, but I can see in love. So I don't have to hate him. I just want to see him stopped. You know? And even with Trump, the same thing. He's just a 4-year-old that doesn't get any love. He doesn't have any sense of what I am loved means as a personal experience. And so you get now an 80-year-old mess because they've never experienced I am loved from the inner. When we see in love, that's how we see differently, and it keeps our heart open. So I'm still blessing Trump to wake up while hoping that somebody puts him in a straitjacket and in a cell real soon. You know, it's very powerful how we see the world. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also going to mention something. There was another thing that you mentioned, like how it can fill other people or make other people realize or wake up other people. Said something along those lines.
Yeah.
Because I've seen myself waking up people along my path.
Sure.
Like, for example, another memory that came to mind was I was working at a summer camp with this super anxious 14-year-old girl, and then all I did was sit, or I think she came to sit with me at lunch one time. I'm just eating by myself, and then I gave her 2 things. I'm like, all right, these 2 videos, just listen to them, and then 2 weeks later I see her, and she's not that anxious girl
Yeah.
anymore. She's with this huge smile on her face, and then she comes and thanks me. I'm like, I totally forgot about what I did there, but
Yep.
but I did it through love. What I thought was the best that I could do for her
Yeah.
in that case, and it just something was passed down.
Right. Well, even your first example, when you just walked into that group and said, it's friendship that brings me here, you were bringing the light to the group. We just never know who is going to impact how and when, but I think Spirit gives us little instances like you had with that girl, so we recognize my presence and light does have an effect. But it's actually going on all the time. And the more I can stay in my heart and enjoy that, the easier it is to stay in my heart. You know? It's a good feedback loop. Yeah. One quick, completely unrelated little share before we go offline. The Australian Aborigines believe that the world is sung into existence, that the very shape of the rocks and rivers and trees are generated by a constant song, and they believe that humans were created to co-maintain this reality with the source. And so every one of them learns 2 songs that is their responsibility to keep singing. And they will walk like a day's walk on a certain path, and there's a song that maps to every object, every cliff, every boulder, every terrain that they see. And it's their job to periodically walk that and keep it sung into existence. They also learn a second song that's a backup for another region in case somebody gets whacked. So this guy who's been living with them and studying them is one day driving one of the members way across the country to go to something. And all at once the guy starts shaking his head and then starts just gibbering and like foaming at the mouth, and he slams on the brake and stops, and the guy just calms and breaks into song. He's recognized his second song. They were crossing what his second song keeps in existence. Just a fun thought. Always loved that story. So that's all. I just like it here because, you know, Stefan likes to say he believes the word is a song.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think of that. All right. Okay, y'all have fun.